Hey guys, it's your girl. It's me. It's Queen Us at Haru, and thank you for being here today. Today, I have another exciting edition of Ask An Aquarius, and you know if you haven't done it already that you should hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. So, today I want to tell you guys I got a letter from a woman who is learning about magical spiritual traditions. And she said that lately she's been watching YouTube videos. So she says she found my videos and she's been watching my videos about magic and spirituality, and she really likes them. And she said that she's been looking at other videos too from other people. And she's been doing this for about a month or so now. And she said the thing that really is weird to her is that we have a lot of similar things that we talk about, but they're so different. For example, I tell people not to hurt people with magic. But she said other people are telling people you can get revenge. You can, break people up, for example. If it's a couple, you want them to break up, you can break them up. And these are the kind of things that I always frown upon. So she wanted to know, why are these ideas so different? But what you have to understand is that magical traditions come from different people, different groups of people, different places on the earth. So we don't all do the same things. I'm a priestess of Mayat. Mayat is all about truth, righteousness, decency, love, light. It's all about those things. Wicca is all about love and light. So if you're in one of these kind of traditions, you're really not supposed to be, especially in Wicca. Wicca has this thing called the Wiccan Rede. The Rede is basically like a promise that you're not going to harm people. So different traditions have different creeds, different things that we go by, but we don't all go by the same thing. If you're in the hoodoo tradition, for example, which is the African American tradition, they do revenge magic. They do breaking people up. They do that kind of stuff. They've always done that kind of stuff. So in their tradition, there's nothing wrong with it. So if you are in that tradition, if you're working through that tradition, you might not see anything wrong with those kind of things. So, and that came from, of course, the African American tradition, but they got a lot of the hoodoo stuff from Africa itself, and they just put it together. It's like a mishmash. Hoodoo is a mishmash of spiritual traditions from Africa and Christianity. So it's something they just put together themselves. So different groups of people use different beliefs. We don't all have the same beliefs. We don't all use the same things. We use similar things. Like a lot of us will use like frankincense and myrrh or Palo Santo to cleanse the space, but not everybody. We all use different things, have different traditions. Some of us are more ceremonial in our craft, and some of us are more naturistic, for lack of a better term. For example, some people may do, like for Christmas, I'll give you an example. They might do a full festival. They might do a ceremony honoring whatever, it's Yule time. So they might do something for Yule or something like that. And another person might not do that. They may go into the woods by themselves and say prayers, amongst the trees. The way that we do things is very different depending on what tradition you're from. What's acceptable is different depending on what tradition that you're from. And there are many traditions. There's Yoruba, there's Santeria, there is Mayat, there's Wicca, there's just straight blanket paganism. There's so many of them. If you look, there's Strenga from Italy. If you look at every country, you can find a different magical tradition in a lot of cases. There's just different ones all over. And then still on top of that, you have people who are what we call eclectic. Eclectic people belong to no tradition. They just take bits and pieces from different traditions and make up their own thing. See? So you have different people doing different things. It's not like Christianity, for example. If somebody says to you, I am Catholic, you know what they believe. You know that they use the Bible. You know that they, use the sacraments, the 7 sacraments. You know their creed. You know what they do. But when somebody says, I'm a witch, I'm a shaman, I'm a priestess, you don't know, because it's different depending on what tradition they're in, if they're in a tradition at all. So you have to actually talk to the person to see what they're into, what's acceptable to them, what they do, what they don't do. You have to really ask them, and everybody's answers are going to be different. I'm always the kind of person who's talking about love and light and being good to people, being compassionate, having mercy. When somebody harms you, not using magic to hurt them. If you want to get back at them, or if you want to deal with the situation, take them to court. I've always been the one who's like, don't hurt a person with magic. But that's because I took a vow with Mayat, and I promised not to hurt people. But if you're not working with Mayat, if you're working with some other energy, you might not make that kind of a promise. Different people work within different boxes, different areas, in the box, out the box. It just depends on the person. So if you talk to a person and they say, I'm a witch, I'm a shaman, I'm a priestess, ask them more questions. Ask them what tradition do they follow, if they follow a tradition. Ask them where did they get the ideas from. Ask them more questions. Because the more questions like that you ask them, the more you'll be able to understand exactly what it is that they're doing. One of the things I'm developing right now is a workbook. It's a Mayat workbook. And it teaches people how to practice Mayat. Because I noticed that most people I come across, they don't know what it is and they don't know how to practice it. And there are several books on it, but they're written in extremely difficult language. These books are written in such a language that you have to be a PhD. In some cases, you got to be damn near a PhD to read these books, okay? And I want the average person with just a 4th grade intelligence to be able to pick up the book, know what it means, and be able to practice Mayat. So I'm working on that now, and hopefully in the future I'll have that to offer to you guys. But in the meantime, when you come across magical traditions, ask the person more about what it is that they're doing, and you'll see why there is so many differences. If you ask 50 witches the same question, you'll probably get 30 different answers. Seriously. Because like I said before, we don't all do the same things. If you get a Wicca priestess or a Wicca witch, a priestess of Mayat in the same room with a priestess of Ifa, and you ask us magical questions, you're going to get some of the same answers, but you're going to get a lot of differences. And that's okay. It's all right. Everybody does their thing. So that's why you're picking up so many differences between these traditions. So what has to happen now is you should learn about each tradition and see if any of them work for you. And if none of them work for you, then maybe you need to be one of those people who's eclectic, who makes up a mishmash of things that they believe in their own heart. It's really up to you. Spirituality is something that is really meant to be personal. It's a personal journey. You don't have to go on anybody else's journey. You have to go on your own journey. Okay? So whatever it is that you're feeling in your heart, you should investigate and follow that. Okay? I hope that helps. See you later.